With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Four different tracks, four different winners. It's been impossible to predict what's going to happen in PRL IndyCar this season, and that is especially the case as we come to Worldwide Technology Raceway, one of the world's most unique ovals and our first short oval of the season. RaceSpotTV welcomes you to the gateway to the second half of the season, round 5, the PRL IndyCar Fixed Series. My name is Joey Tebben. Joining me in the booth is Mr. Ewan O'Leary, and behind the scenes on sound and pictures is Ramiro Agustin Cisneros. Ewan, you can see just from the aerial view, this is unlike any other oval in the world. Two drastically different ends and a whole new experience for some drivers who might not have a ton of experience driving at this place.
Yeah, this track map looks like a map of someone who's drawn an oval wrong, to be honest. It's really odd in so many ways, but so interesting as well. I'm just going to call it Gateway instead of Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's just quicker, and it will be a very interesting one here tonight indeed. Are we going to get a fifth different winner this season? I suspect we just might, because it's been such a confusing and a weird season so far. I wouldn't bet against that continuing.
Our American tour continues for the rest of the season. We're in St. Louis, or specifically Madison, Illinois, across the Mississippi this week, and All America after that. The very close championship battle rages on between Jake Vasconcelos and the winner of round 1 of the season, Dave Menino, but everybody essentially is still in contention with half of the season to go. Daniel Cranifus only 17 points behind, looking for, I believe, his first win of the season. James O'Brien hasn't got a win yet this season, but look for him on the ovals to be very, very fast. He does have Gateway experience, just in slightly different machinery. See Ken Miller deeper in the order, Jordan Kernow deeper in the order. Both of them are race winners this season, going to add to their total and potentially be the first two-time winners of the season. The team's championship is very, very close as well. Lots of very strong teams in this series. We've had SRT in the lead at some points. We've had Rust Racing in the lead at some points. Now Team Hype actually leads the team's championship after a couple of strong results the last couple of weeks. So who knows? The second half of the season could bring Precision Racing Esports back into competition, could bring Regan Bogue back into competition. There's no use predicting. There is only use watching the racing and seeing what happens. Before we can do that, we do have to thank Logitech G. Logitech G wheels and pedals are equipped with true force feedback to help you feel the road and own the race. Use code PRECISION5 at checkout on logitechg.com for 5% off your purchase. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and also get a 5% discount, also using the Precision5 coupon code. The Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with the Butt Kicker. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution, a great addition to any sim room. And last but not least, get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Qualifying still underway, a minute left on the clock here in St. Louis. Most drivers have gotten their laps underway. Daniel Cranifus currently sits on pole, was very fast in practice, once again very fast in qualifying. Just Nathan Ray left on the road. Christian McCrelly has not yet qualified, but doesn't look like he's going to be getting out there. Here's Nathan Ray coming through turns 3 and 4 in his final run, Ewan.
Yeah, he's one of the last drivers to complete his laps. Look how quick it is round here. It's absolutely astonishing. Over the line for Ray. He's a few tenths away, but that will be an improvement by the looks of things, as long as it counts. And it is 9th place for Nathan Ray. So we'll be pretty pleased with that to get in the top 10. Yeah, Crenifus is going to be one of those drivers to watch today. We saw him do well at Kansas, round 2. That was the last time we had an oval in this series. We've had 3 road courses in a row, or 2 road courses in a row, I should say, since then. He was within a second of the win, but he finished 4th. We'll see if he can go a little bit better here today than that.
Daniel Cranifus, the 4th different pole sitter this season, joining Josh Conker, Mitchell Ian Green, and Greg Seitz. 2 of his teammates in that list. He'll start alongside Josh Chinsky, very experienced in an IndyCar on an oval. Steve Baker's been very fast all season. He's looking for his first win as he starts alongside championship leader Jake Vasconcelos. Ken Miller shocked the field and won at Mid-Ohio last week. He starts alongside 4th place in the championship, James O'Brien. 7th went to Jordan Kernow, who won on an oval earlier this season. He starts alongside Canada's Richard Swindells. Nathan Ray saved his qualifying lap for last. He'll start in the top 10 alongside Mr. Adam McDonald. Brett Punkari in the Peugeot-powered IndyCar starts 11th alongside Kyle Strykars. We're halfway through the field as Mitchell Ian Green starts unlucky 13th. He'll be looking to move his way forward in the field, as will Josh Conker, much slower than both of them are used to starting. Guillaume Potvin and Willie Brennan make up row number 8. Lucas Santos, we know him to be able to drive forward through the field. He starts alongside another oval specialist in Brandon Walter. Karsten Quint is 19th, and Christian McCrelly will start 20th and last after getting no lap in qualifying. It's a dead even 20-car field. There's drivers at the front of the field who I might not necessarily have expected to be there. They're figuring out oval racing quickly. There's oval racing specialists like Josh Conker deeper in the order than we'd expect them to be. I think those are both ingredients for some exciting racing coming up here, Ewan.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's been such a topsy-turvy season, and this qualifying session just sort of distills that, if you like, into one lap. You're right, to see Josh Conker down in 14th place is just really weird on a circuit like this, in a qualifying session like that. But as I say, this season has been the best placed driver in the championship who's got a pole position before Daniel Cranifus. Is down in 18th place, Mitchell Ian Green, the first of those who's got a pole position. That's kind of weird. And only one of the top 5 in the championship have got a race win so far this season. That's Dave Menino, and he's not even leading the standings. It's been a very weird season in so many ways. You just don't know what to look at next. You don't know where to turn next. And that qualifying session very much a showing that the weirdness is not slowing down.
It always helps to show up to every race. That's always useful. But we're rolling for 2 pace laps around Gateway this time, and the lights are on the iRacing sedan pace car. That tells you that the daytime racing is going to be very, very short-lived. The daytime temperatures are going to be very, very short-lived. This track is only going to be getting cooler and cooler as we go on tonight, Ewan.
Yep, 8:20 in the evening in the middle of May, so this is going to be going down temperature-wise. Whether tyres are going to be a big concern, though, over only the course of 125 laps remains to be seen, really. We'll see how much green flag running we get.
Daniel Cranifus starting on pole for the first time ever in his PRL career. He has won a race before in a Super Formula car, but he has never started from the head of the field. Always an uncomfortable position to be in. There's always a couple of jitters, especially on a track like Gateway, where you're going to have to be first on the brakes into turn 1. You're going to have a driver like Steve Baker behind you who's going to be aggressive, and you got Josh Chinsky to your outside. But the packed virtual grandstands at Worldwide Technology Raceway are ready, and the green flag flies for Daniel Cranifus. Great great jump from him. He's got about 2 car lengths ahead of Joshua Chinsky into turn 1 for the first time. He'll try and run away. Chinsky rips around the outside of Steve Baker. They'll be side by side for second down in the order. The 10 of Jake Vasconcelos is on the scene as well. Is he going to be able to send it 3 wide for second on lap 1? He is not. He holds back. Chinsky around the outside of Baker is trying to get a run, and he does hold on to second.
And what about Vasconcelos? He's going to get to the inside of the 2 car now. Steve Baker's going to be stuck on the outside, but is that... Oh, contact! Contact into one, and we've already got a car in the wall.
Huge hit for Steve Baker. Everybody does a good job of avoiding him. No other cars involved, but Chinsky and Vasconcelos and Baker running side by side into turn 1. Looked like a little bit of air between those 2 cars to me. And Steve Baker comes off on the receiving end of it.
There was enough air to give oxygen to the whole of Illinois there in between those 2 cars. That was a lot of netcode, I'm afraid, and Steve Baker's going to be very unimpressed with that. Look at his car; it's absolutely destroyed.
It's driving good on 3 wheels at least.
It's going surprisingly well, considering he's only got 3 wheels.
Stay out, Steve. Keep it out there.
You don't even need the left-hand front anyway. You're not turning
exactly. He'll be fine
on that corner. He will, of course, come in when the pit lane opens. But such a shame for him. Such a shame, and it might unfortunately scare a lot of people into not going side by side so early on in the race as well. If they've seen that go on up ahead of them.
And that tire is rolling around in so many different directions. It's like a biblically accurate angel. It's all over the place there. But we already get a chance to slow down, to catch our breath a little bit. Not much in terms of movement in and around the field. It hasn't been too long. Richard Swindells is up 1 spot. Adam McDonald is up a spot. A couple drivers, though, electing to come down pit road this time. Kyle Strykars and Josh Conker join Steve Baker. But here's what happened. Into turn 1. Vasconcelos on the inside, Baker on the outside. There was a little bit of a squeeze, but there was no real contact there.
No. I think Vasconcelos there didn't want to... He saw what happened to Baker up in front of him when he was on the low side. If you get right up on that sort of... It's almost like an apex curb kind of thing on the inside line there. You don't get very good runs off the corners. So he wanted to at least take the middle line up there, and they hadn't run side by side before, so they hadn't quite figured each other out yet. And in terms of what line each other were going to use. And unfortunately, there was a bit of side-to-side contact that has resulted in a very big crash for Steve Baker. Now, Kyle Strykars, by the way, is also taking a fairly long stop here. I wonder whether he has any damage to repair.
Another look at the not quite contact between Vasconcelos and Baker. There's nothing Baker could do. Once that car was turned around 180 degrees, I think he knew he was done. But it would be interesting to see that replay for longer, because Kyle Strykars did attempt to go around the outside of Baker. It looked like he made it through, but he may have not quite made it. He may have clipped Baker slightly. As you can see, he's still in the pits. It's been 70 seconds now, and they're still doing repairs to the number 7 machine.
Yeah, number 2 is still in, as you would expect as well. They're accepting the fact they're going to be laps down, and they're going to hope that they get some of those laps back a little bit later. But the fact we're going green next time around won't help them. They're going to need to get out the pit lane pretty shortly, get back to the end of the queue if they have any hopes in this race, as Carson Quint completes his pit stop. He's topped off on fuel, and he will join in from 18th place on this single file restart. Of course, we don't go double file.
And that brief look we had of Kyle Strykars' car, it looked okay. But there's always, especially in a car as delicate as this, there's always the opportunity for some kind of phantom damage, or if it's floor damage, suspension damage. You might not necessarily be able to see it from the outside, but clearly Kyle Strykars is not having a good time right now. But the iRacing sedan pace car prepares to pull off one more time, and Daniel Cranifus controls the field yet again. This time Chinsky's not to his outside, though. He's directly behind him, waiting to see if he can get a jump on this restart. There was trouble on the restarts last time we were on an oval at Kansas. Is it going to be better figured out this time? The green flag flies yet again, and it's much better figured out this time. Chinsky's all over the back of Cranifus. Can't quite get to his inside to turn 1, but he is going to be to his outside. He's going to get a run. He's going to get the switchback. Chinsky looking to the inside of Daniel Cranifus down the back stretch.
He had a brief run there, Chinsky, but he just had a bit of a bubble right at the end. And look at them both weaving there for the right line in towards 3 and 4. The dirty air is going to kill Joshua Chinsky through the final 2 turns. And so he's going to have to figure this out again as Kratifus again goes to the inside, then back to the racing line again. This is going to be a fascinating battle between these two.
There's multiple grooves in turn 1. Chinsky chooses to use the one following Kratifus, essentially. Works out for him, but this is going to be a snaking festival at the lead of this race. Can Chinsky do anything? Can he find the clean air? Does he know a little bit more than Kratifus? Is he going to be patient here, save his stuff while Kratifus is defending? Either way, Kratifus just turned the fastest lap of the race, and he's pulling away.
Yeah, he's got the clean air and he's starting to use it now. Ken Miller's going backwards, by the way. He's just held back Adam McDonald, though, in the battle for 6th. And so Nathan Ray is going to be on his inside in the 35 car. That is an interesting midfield battle, which Nathan Ray prevails in. And now, here comes Brett Pancari as well.
Brett Pancari, another driver who should excel on tracks like these. Could have won at Kansas, was very much in the conversation for his first ever win. Ended up spinning and ended up all the way at the back of the field in a race where he led some of his first laps in the PRL. Further forward, the winner at Kansas, Jordan Kurnow, kind of the shocker of the season there. A driver totally new to the PRL, totally new to this series. Ended up showing up the whole field at Kansas and running away with that thing. He's moved forward a couple spots. James O'Brien is forward a couple of spots. But other than that, much, much cleaner than the initial run. Everybody, 19 cars still running and fairly spaced out from 1st to 19th.
Yeah, Strachos is back out onto the circuit again, which is good. 1 lap down. Steve Baker, unfortunately, still getting his repairs. Just on Jordan Kurnow, by the way, as we watch this battle for the lead, he, at the moment, because of the drop weeks not having been applied, looks like a long way away from the championship lead. But actually, when that's all figured out, he's only going to be 8 points off the championship lead. The drop week should be applied after this week. We'll have an update on the other side of the Super Bowl week next week for you in terms of the new standings. But watch out for Jordan Kurnow. He's suddenly going to pop right into the fray because don't forget he DNF'd at Lime Rock.
He's absolutely a contender. Round 1, his first race, ended up in trouble on lap 1, ended up a little bit deeper in the order than he would have liked, but ended up finishing 6th. 1 at Kansas, did crash at Lime Rock, he'll lose that. And then a reasonable day at Mid-Ohio last week, 13th. It's been a good season so far for Kurnow. We ride on board with Lucas Santos now, who's up quite a few spots from the start of the race. I believe he started 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa!
And he throws it into turn 1 as Pancari checks up in the dirty air of Ray and Micheline Green and Adam McDonald side by side ahead of him. It's a 5-car cloud here as Josh Conker's on the scene as well to the inside of Santos.
Pancari there was on the inside of McDonald. He didn't quite realise it, and the 2 of them had to just readjust there through the middle of the corner. Now it's side by side, 2 rows deep here, into towards turn 1 and 2. So many different lines you can take here at this circuit in these machines. It's fantastic to see, very encouraging with still well over 50 minutes to go. Lots of racing still to be had here with these cars. They can take so many different lines, makes it very interesting. Here comes Josh Conker on the inside line of Lucas Santos. He can't quite get that done.
And Mitch Green is loving this. He is running away with 8th place as Santos on the bottom in turn 1 is able to clear Adam McDonald. McDonald's got to run down the backstretch though, and he's got just enough of an opening to send the nose back to the inside into turn 3. Conker in that red and beige and black car is just kind of spoiled for choice here. He's holding back. He gets squeezed into the wall in the front stretch. McDonald's involved as well. Caution does finally fly as Conker was looking to the outside of McDonald and ended up out of room in the wall on the outside of turn 4.
Yeah, McDonald didn't give enough space to Conker on the outside line. I guess maybe he wasn't expecting him to go through with the attempt because it does tighten up, as you can see, out of turn 4. But unfortunately, they have come into contact, and that is a very, very big crash indeed. Second caution within 10 minutes. It doesn't look like we're going to get through the 125 laps. Instead, we're going to be limited to time, I would suspect, the way this race has begun.
See what happened at all. It started with side-by-side Lucas Santos and Adam McDonald into turn 3. Conker takes advantage. He's well to the outside. And yeah, unfortunately, just gets slammed. And what a great job avoiding that by Brett Pancari and Richard Swindells. That could have been an even bigger crash than it was.
It's a nice bit of avoiding, especially from Swindells, who had to really check up towards the end of that accident there. Thankfully, it wasn't a bigger accident than it was already. Into the pit lane for Brett Pancari. I thought it looked like him from 10th place. He will be stopping, looks like just normally, to be honest. Track position has proved to be relatively important, so those guys inside the top 10 are unlikely to pit in really until they really need to.
It's right on board with Brett here. He did avoid everything. There was no contact, so he's not pitting for damage, but always a scary moment avoiding a crash in an IndyCar, because it's not like in a stock car where if you make a little bit of contact, you're fine. It's not like in any other kind of closed-wheeled car where you can get away with a certain amount of contact. You can get away with very, very little contact in an Indycar. Most contact will lead to something getting bent, something getting broken, and the car not feeling right for the rest of the day.
Well, I think more than that, you're very likely to find yourself in the wall, to be honest. I don't think you can get away with very much contact at all before you suddenly both find yourself off the circuit and into the wall somewhere. So you really, really desperately want to avoid it in these cars. As you say, it's very different racing to what it is to race stock cars around here. So we'll look out for that throughout the race. But so far, we've seen the very small bits of contact that we've had has ended in disaster. Looks like Josh Conker has retired, as Steve Baker has retired already as well. McDonald's still persevering with the repairs, but he's about to go 3 laps down already.
Lights are out in the iRacing sedan pace car. We'll go racing in just over a mile. The last restart, Chinsky was really on it. Kranifus was kind of crawling on the throttle, didn't really get much of a jump at all. If Chinsky can figure that out again, if he can send it maybe a little bit deeper into turn 1, he's definitely been strong on these restarts.
And I suspect he's going to get practice at making a move as well. So there's not a desperation here with over 45 minutes to go in terms of trying to make this move. There's absolutely time on his side. Just, feel things out a little bit here. Try 1 or 2 things. Try and see if you can maybe fashion up an overtake. But if not, then don't worry about it. Just get into 2nd place and ride around, because there's still a very long time to go. And I suspect this will not be the last restart.
It's looking completely dark now. There's a little bit of red in the sky, a little bit of purple, but we are almost to full nighttime. The track's getting cooler and cooler. The floodlights are blazing, and Daniel Kranifus prepares to lead the field to green for the 3rd time tonight. Will Chinsky be able to hold touch with him? Will Vasconcelos be able to hold touch with both of them? It's an identical situation to the last restart. Chinsky is all over Daniel Kranifus. Can't get to his inside into turn 1, but he does look to his outside. Pulls the road course style switchback off of turn 2, and Chinsky is to the inside of Kranifus into turn 3 this time.
Yeah, he tried it last time and it didn't work. This time it has done. That was contact, I think, as Kranifus there was trying to just squeeze Chinsky, who sleds up straight in front of him. And now he's in the lead, but it's not over yet.
Kranifus to the outside this time. Can he send it deeper into turn 1? He does, but he's up high. Is there room? Can he get a run? Chinsky does leave him just enough of a car's width on the outside to survive, and Kranifus, with the momentum, with the longer run around, holds on to the lead. Look behind, though. Vasconcelos up on the high line around the outside of Jordan Kernow. He's coming to join the scene, too.
Yeah, James O'Brien's in 5th place. He is on his way as well. He's had a very quiet first 15 minutes. That's exactly the way to do it. He's starting to make some moves in this race now. Look at Kranifus weaving around, breaking the toe. Look at them snaking, trying to get whatever they can here on the back straight before turn 3 and 4. As Chinsky just tries to get a move here on Kranifus after that restart 1 was unsuccessful. He's got a good thing going now on these restarts, I've got to say. He's getting some momentum. It's just about executing one of these chances now.
Vasconcelos, a teammate of Joshua Chinsky's, not totally. He's an SRT orange driver. Chinsky is an SRT green driver, but they are both SRT drivers. They're probably communicating as we see the little bit of a hip check into turn 3 between Chinsky and Kranifus. Nothing too aggressive. That was just some typical St. Louis racing there. A little bit of a hip check.
I called that wrong at the time. I thought there was contact. It was actually exceptionally close. Here goes Kranifus versus Chinsky again, as looks like Santos is in the wall in the background. You can see Lucas Santos up in the wall at turn 2.
No caution's going to fly for that. He was still pointed straight, but there was contact. Jake Vasconcelos gets into the wall off of turn 4. I think he's okay. That was just a little bit of an error. And here's Santos side by side with Mitchell and Green into turn 1. Ends up in the turn 1 wall and tows it back to pit lane before he can bring out a caution. But in the live pictures, Vasconcelos got so close to the turn 4 wall that he briefly lost the right front tire. He's okay, but that's how much of nothing he's playing with.
Yeah, he probably just scraped it on his end. Maybe not even, but he's getting very, very close. And these are the fine margins that matter in races like this. We always see it in oval racing. So it feels like the objective sometimes is to get as close to the wall as he possibly can. As Jake Vasconcelos here just holds off for the moment. I wonder whether he is just reining himself in after that small brush with the wall. It's Jordan Kernow, by the way, finding himself going backwards. James O'Brien has overtaken him. Now Nathan Ray has done the same.
Vasconcelos seems like a little bit of a clean air merchant. He's doing a better job than some of these other drivers of actually searching for the clean air, and it's worked beautifully for him. He clears Joshua Chinsky, and now he can set his sights forward on Daniel Kranifus and lead this race for the first time tonight.
I think that was Chinsky saying, you know, we're teammates, you go on and try and overtake Daniel Kranifus here, because at the moment I've not been able to. Joshua Chinsky has been in third for quite some time now, as Kernow is continuing to struggle in the background. Ken Miller, last week's race winner, getting through up into 6th.
Can never count out Ken Miller. Had a quiet start to the season. First 3 rounds were, you know, anywhere from okay to fine. And then last week in Mid-Ohio, he comes out and then shocks everybody and wins the race. You never know what's going to happen with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, helped, of course, by the fact that Menino and Vasconcelos crashed into each other, which didn't help their cause. They ended up finishing on the same amount of points, finishing in the lower part of the order, to 9th and 10th in the end, the lower part of the top 10. But Menino not here today, so taking a drop week, effectively he'll score 41 points, which is what you get for a 10th place finish. So that's what we'll be thinking about when we look at Menino's score. Is Vasconcelos in the top 10? If the answer to that is yes, then he's effectively gaining points.
And Ken Miller has one of the great PRL viewing audiences that we've ever seen. There's the Graham Wildman group, who's always asking for the Graham Cam. There's a couple other drivers who bring a reasonable amount of people who cheer him on in the chat. But we got a whole gang here. Cindy Miller, who I assume is related. Esha Bajwa, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Vegas itself, and Elizabeth Sowell are all here cheering on Ken Miller. That is a veritable posse.
And some other people try to give some support to other drivers so they don't feel a bit left out. But so there you go. But yeah, good to see all of that going on. You can imagine what it was like last week. I know you weren't here, Joey. Can you imagine what the chat was like that? But anyway,
would have been blinded by it.
Yeah, 6th place for him at the moment, Ken Miller. This is what happened to Santos on board. I'm quite amazed that wasn't a caution, to be honest. He got tipped quite a long way around, but I suppose didn't go all the way around, and so no caution was triggered. We stayed green.
4 cars out already. Santos, McDonald, Conker, and Baker. Down to a 16-car grid. Useful for our leaders, potentially. There's not going to be much lap traffic to deal with. There is going to be these guys to deal with, as McCrelly, Brennan, Walter, Green, and Karsten Quint may be on the scene in this battle soon. This is basically everybody from 10th on down battling for the last spot in the top 10.
And so there is only one space up for grabs in this group, because further up front, Brett Pancari is running away with 9th, side by side on the outside line there. That's Willie Brennan getting past Christian McCrelly, and Walter's right in there as well in the white. Just see him on the outside line there, up higher than everybody else through 3 and 4. Is he going to get given the space? He certainly does, as Jordan Kernow makes the first green flag stop of the evening.
Interesting. About 20 minutes into the night. Earlier than I think anybody expected that to happen, but this has been a 2-stop series under reasonable conditions. So maybe Jordan Kernow's thinking we are strung out in general. There's only 16 cars left in the track. The possibility of a caution gets lower and lower with every DNF. He's thinking strategy early, and that is what won him the race at Kansas. So if there's any driver who may be trusted to go off strategy, Jordan Kernow may be that driver.
Yeah, maybe, but off in the outside. Well, I don't know about the idea of taking a green flag pit stop so early, though. You lose so much time, and now he's running a huge risk. If there's a caution now, his race is absolutely over, and he'll be trapped a lap down.
Walter is desperate to get by Willie Brennan. If there's going to be a caution anywhere, it may be from this little cluster of cars here. As Walter looks high, he looks low, he looks to the rear end of Willie Brennan and loses half of the front wing as they make contact off of turn 2. Walter looks to be okay. The half of the front wing that disappeared is back on that car, but there was definitely contact there.
I think that must be a personal record for one of your predictions coming true in the shortest amount of time. That was remarkable. A bit of contact, but somehow he seems to have got away with Brandon Walter. Meanwhile, McCrelly and Brennan now go side by side, not phased clearly by the near-death experience the three of them just had. They get back straight on the way and straight back into it. Walter straight back down the inside through 3 and 4.
He's going to be unhappy with the checkup there. He is going to be desperate, even more desperate than he was before to get by Willie Brennan. Can he actually do it this time, though? The speed difference was so large off of turn 2 last time. Walter gets to the inside of Brennan this time, and it doesn't look like Brennan really wants to fight this one. He knows that Brandon Walter is much faster at this point of the race, and Walter gets it done much easier that time. Here's what happened with the contact.
There's a bizarre bit of slowing. And I think he was just going to slam into the wall himself there, was Brennan. So he just started to slow down, and Walter didn't really account for that at all. And so went straight into the back of him. That's Michelin Green, by the way, being overtaken by Christian McCrelly for 9th.
And Brennan definitely took the majority of the damage there. I think Walter actually got lucky with front to rear contact, that he doesn't really have much wrong with that car, but Brennan did slap the outside wall in turn 2, so that is going to be a much slower Hyperion Racing IndyCar than usual. But they're battling yet again. Willie Brennan has recovered. Am I going crazy here? Or is this McCrelly, Green, Walter? I'm getting so confused here. This is not the order I'm seeing on the pylon. There we are. This is the legitimate thing. Here's Brandon Walter to the inside of Mitch Green. We are now back to live pictures.
Yeah, right round the outside for Green, and he will hold on to 10th place ahead of Brandon Walter. There is caution. It's for Kyle Streichart seems to have gone off the road.
And Jordan Kernow, the off-strategy risk has not paid off whatsoever. He's going to be trapped. Well, he won't be trapped a lap down. He will get waved around because I assume everybody ahead of him is going to pit, but he will still be at the back of the field.
But can we assume everyone's going to pit? You know, we've already seen some people pitting in during this race. I just don't believe there's going to be a caution in this race where everyone on the lead lap pits. That could be a very bad thing to say, considering what might be about to happen, but we'll find out.
I think the only car ahead of him that won't pit would be Swindell's, who did also pit. So I think they might be lucky. Both Swindell's and Kernow may get lucky here, but we'll have to wait and see.
A few of the cars at the back in the previous cautions topped off on fuel, so they might think, well, I'm all right for the moment. I'll go take some track position. It kind of depends where Kernow is in the train. How many does he need to come in to make up all those places? We'll find out as we have a look. It might not matter. Jordan Kernow here is the one we're watching the replay on.
He almost got into the wall. He was okay. I'm intrigued to see what happened to Kyle Streichars. There's Kernow getting by Karsten Quint, I believe. But we'll spool up that replay. We'll see what happened to Kyle Streichars. In the meantime, that looks to me like every single car coming down pit road this time, Richard Swindell's and Jordan Kernow have gotten lucky. They will be able to get waved around. They will be back on the lead lap. They will still be very much off strategy, though, so they're still going to need another caution to really get back into things.
Feel free to laugh at me. They're all in. Let's see who wins the race off here. Cradifus here obviously pulls into his box first, or at the very end. Vasconcelos, Chinsky are going to be up towards the front here. What are the pit stop times going to be? Vasconcelos 8.9. It's a little bit slower than Chinsky, but he's still got ahead of him just about by the looks of that.
And not much change. Kranifus, Vasconcelos, Chinsky still your top 3. Nathan Ray, a good stop. He'll be up into the top 5. Other than that, not much surprise. Couple drivers getting some damage repaired. Brandon Walter probably getting a new front wing on that vehicle. Willie Brennan actually out with no damage repair. I guess he's still driving good. No real damage to the right side of that car after he smacked the wall. Mitch Green got some extra repairs, and Karsten Quint got some extra repairs as well. But as we just saw at the bottom of the track, is Richard Swindell's pitting this time? I don't understand that at all. He's putting himself a lap down again.
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. Jordan Kernow in YouTube chat says that he's got unfixable damage. His race is done. He's clearly texting while driving. Don't do that, kids. But
he did smack the wall. We saw that replay. We thought it was nothing, but he did smack the wall.
I thought unfixable damage was gone from iRacing. Maybe it just still exists.
I guess not. I think it just never. The car never truly fully repairs. Like, you can get through every second of repairs, but it still drives a little weird.
Yeah, I thought that's exactly what they fixed in a fairly recent patch. But
I don't know.
That's not true.
Maybe Jordan Kernow's imagining it.
Maybe it's only on certain cars, because in long endurance racing, it was very weird when you got cars that couldn't be fully repaired, and you're just driving around 10 k's an hour down on the straights for no reason at all, when that would never happen in real life. I thought that was gone, but maybe it's not. But anyway, Kernow's back on the lead lap at least. He's 14th now.
He's still there. He's still on the lead lap. As long as he can keep driving. Unless he has a black flag, we'll see what happens. But the iRacing sedan pace car has pulled off yet again. And it's a familiar sight at the head of the field with Daniel Kranifus leading Jake Vasconcelos, leading Joshua Chinsky. Chinsky was able to take the lead for a short period of time in that previous short run. Will Vasconcelos be able to recreate what his teammate did? Green flag flies again, and it is a much worse restart for Jake Vasconcelos. Nowhere near the rear end of Daniel Kranifus. McCrelly is slow into turn 1, though. He's fallen all the way to the back of the field.
Yeah, he didn't want any part of that restart. He restarted right in the middle there, and he just pulled to the side and said, everyone else go through. I'm not particularly comfortable with restarting from the middle. Bukhari versus Miller in towards 3 and 4. The top 6 are being allowed to get away, because look at that in the background. They're side by side. And in the foreground, Vasconcelos and Chinsky going side by side as well in towards turn 1. That's right round the outside for Chinsky. Oh, the teammates nearly colliding there off of turn 2.
And Brandon Walter goes around, and Jordan Kernow's involved as well. There was already unfixable damage on the number 344, and now there's even more, unfortunately, as the two drivers at the back of the field come together. And we'll add 2 more cars to the used car lot as the caution flies for the 4th time.
Jordan Kernow pitted early to see if he could fix that damage he's just told us, but now he'll be fixing even more, and his race may well be completely over. Let's see what happened. It was his fault, I'm afraid. He drove straight into the back of Brandon Walter there and paid the price for it.
I'm kind of surprised that was a caution, because they were both down in the grass. They were off the racing surface, but it's one of those things that differs from track to track. If you're on the apron at Kansas or Auto Club, it's not usually a caution, but if you're in the grass at Gateway, apparently it will trigger a yellow flag.
Yeah, and I'm surprised as well. I agree that, and especially the fact they were off the ground as well at one stage. I thought maybe that would, maybe it only counts if they're on the ground, but I don't know. It clearly was a caution though, and that is number 4, I think, of the day. If we get another one, I'm pretty sure we are going to be limited to time anyway in this race, but if we get another one, we certainly will be.
And we will be past halfway once we restart, so I think there will still be 1 required green flag pit stop if we do get green flag pit stops again in this race. I don't know if we'll get that, but I also know that we're not going to lose any cars here. I think we'll ride on board with Jordan Kernow here. I don't think he's going to have any totally unfixable damage from this. I think he's going to be able to get back out there, even with flying about 10 feet in the air. So we should still have 16 cars on track when we restart.
It's a bizarre thing to say when that replay is running, isn't it? With him just flying through the air, but
it's only 15 seconds. He's got a good team of mechanics over there.
A few hammers and it'll be fine.
Exactly.
It'll be back out on the circuit again, hopefully shortly. Brandon Wiltshire still repairing some of his damage, trying to do as much as he can. The pace car will come in at the end of the next lap. The lights are still on top of the pace car for the moment. So Wiltshire's got to get on with this. Got to make sure his damage is as repaired as it can be. And then we'll have 14 on the lead lap to begin with. Richard Swindell's still off the lead lap, and I'm still puzzled as to why, because he had a great chance to get back on it in the last caution.
If you were curious, under this caution, where the RaceSpotTV TV compound would be, it would be just behind this shot right here on the outside of turn 4, out there in the parking lot. That's where they put the TV compound. That's where virtual Ewan and I would be.
Yep.
In the parking lot, next to the highway.
It is a bizarre location, isn't it? I've forgotten which straight it is, but one of them runs directly parallel, and it was designed to do so with the highway just alongside that runs along here. Oh, have a look at that.
Hi, Jordan. How you doing?
That's a lot of sky he's seeing there in that camera shot.
But look at he's right there. You can see him about 11th in line, even with flying a couple dozens of feet in the air. That looks like a perfectly fine car to me and a perfectly fine driver.
He was not telling the truth when he said damage is unfixable. I don't believe him anymore.
I believe there is still damage, but I believe he'll be fine. And also that opening on the backstretch, that is not there anymore. We are very lucky that was closed a couple of years ago when IndyCar came back to St. Louis. Unfortunately, you do still have to deal with that on the sim, so be careful running side by side down the backstretch not to squeeze somebody into that wall. But anyway, it is time to restart here. Kranifus definitely got the better of Vasconcelos last time. Has Jake learned this time? He absolutely has. It is a great restart for the 10 of Jake Vasconcelos. He's going to send it to the outside in turn 1 immediately and try and build up the run down the backstretch. See if he can take the lead from Kranifus.
He's not been able to get anywhere near as close, though, as Chinsky did when he was in second place. Already, Chinsky would have been alongside by this point, and you've got to take advantage early when you're in the second position here. You can't let the leader get settled, otherwise he will start to dictate the race from the front, and that's what Kranifus has been doing so far this race. Oh, Vasconcelos so close in towards turn 1, going higher and higher, looking for the lines. Has he got the run off of turn 2 this time? Not really. He's not really getting very close.
Kranifus has been the master of defense all night so far. People have been able to get runs. People have been able to make attempts at him, but he's able to seemingly place that car in any lane on this track and make a pass totally impossible. Vasconcelos almost got into the back of him into turn 1, taps the wall on the exit of turn 2. He's trying to chase Kranifus around every inch of this track, and none of them are working for him.
And Kranifus is starting to take the line away from him there by entering quite high as well. But here he comes again. This is a decent run. Chinsky just ignoring them. He's not interested in weaving around and playing those games on the inside line. Vasconcelos again, just one lane higher, just trying to get that clean air. Can he get these runs? Not quite. And you can just see on the tower just slowly slipping further back each time. And it's getting more and more difficult to even get alongside at any stage now for the driver in second place.
This is about half a car length closer for Vasconcelos this time, but with the swerving that Kranifus is doing, he just can't build up a run. He can't get alongside him as much as he tries. He's going to need to hope that Kranifus has a bad exit at some point. He can get a nose alongside the leader and actually get to the inside of him, because with the way Kranifus is driving now, there's no way you're getting to the outside of him.
Yeah, all the inside. It's pretty difficult to get alongside in any way, the way that it's going. And now he's starting to slip a couple of car lengths behind, and from here it gets a lot more difficult to sort of break into that bubble again. Quarter of a second, you can see it going up. Kranifus knows this. He's weaving around trying to make sure that Vasconcelos stays away, but he's getting back into the bubble again, in towards turn 3 and 4. Does he get the run off here? This is good, and Kranifus has gone pretty wide. Here comes Vasconcelos into turn 1.
He does get the chance to get to the outside into turn 1 this time, and he'll have enough clean air and enough of a run to actually pull a switchback this time. To the outside into turn 3. For the first time, Vasconcelos has a nose alongside Daniel Cranifus. He does not have the lead, though, trying to rip it the long way around. He will lead at the line now as he built up the momentum on the outside of 3 and 4. Can he clear Cranifus this time? Around the outside in turn 1. There it goes. Jake Vasconcelos takes over the lead.
And now he's going to get boxed in here is Cranifus because Chinsky's coming inside line for Cranifus anyway. He's going to dive down onto the very low side of 3 and 4 and he could slide up in front of Vasconcelos here. Absolutely side by side. It's almost a dead heat over the line. Vasconcelos leads another lap. Just under 25 minutes to go. This race is absolutely on between these three now. Oh, Cranifus got tight and now he's going to be going backwards.
And Chinsky does lose half of his front wing, making contact with the rear end of Cranifus. 2 cars nerfed. You can see Chinsky's already struggling up high. He's going to fall to the back of the top 4, probably the back of the field with only half a front wing. And suddenly, Jake Vasconcelos has the biggest lead anybody's had all night.
Oh, Chinsky's going to go backwards so quickly here. He doesn't stand a chance. He's got to come in. He's got to come in now, and he will do. Meanwhile, James O'Brien is coming. Look at this. Daniel Cranifus under pressure now for his second position. The gap balloons to a second.
Never count out James O'Brien. He's a guy who knows how to do a long oval run. He knows how to save tires. And he's just been biding his time in 4th as the top 3 have been going at it, as they've been taking front wings off of each other. O'Brien's been riding. How much does he have left in the tank?
He would get into the top 10 on the all-time winners list, by the way, if he was to be able to take one tonight. Be up to a quarter century as side-by-side further back for 5th place. Punkari versus Potvin. And this is going to be an ongoing battle. I saw these two going at it a little bit earlier as well, but Guillaume Potvin in the most vibrant livery of the lot gets up to the top 5.
I love it. Beautiful, beautiful neon yellow. I'm a little bit biased, but I'm a big fan. Chinsky has completed his stop, by the way. They've replaced that front wing. He's probably put enough fuel in that car to make it to the end of the race.
Yeah.
Here's what happened to him to require him coming down there.
Oh, it's just Cranifus all of a sudden getting that wash of dirty air right in front of him, slowing down dramatically. Chinsky would have been used to the dirty air and he would have been used to dealing with it and that run off the corner, but he wasn't quite used to, Cranifus wasn't quite used to it, really slowed up straight in front of Chinsky, who is now a lap down and down to 15th place. He's hoping for a very long green flag run here. At least one that takes us towards the end of the race where people might have to pit under that last caution so he can get on the lead lap, much like we saw with Jordan Kernow earlier.
Ken Miller a little bit deeper in the order than he'd like. Was running in the top 5 a little bit earlier. Now just in the last spot in the top 10. O'Brien versus Cranifus, though, the battle for second. Cranifus not actually fighting this one very hard. I think he knows it's a little bit of a foregone conclusion. O'Brien gets to his inside, clears him through 1 and 2. And now O'Brien looks forward at what is almost a 2-second gap up to first. Is he going to be able to make that up under green flag running?
It's going to be very difficult, but who would bet against him? James O'Brien is so strong in a long overrun, as you were saying earlier on. Guillaume Potvin just hit the wall out of 2, by the way, and I'm slightly concerned he might have knocked his steering rack out of line there, because he's lost a place immediately to Brett Punkari. Is he just getting readjusted? Oh no, he's struggling. He's tight. That car is damaged. It was so slight. It was really quite slight, but he's damaged his car and he's plummeting through the field now.
And Mitch Green takes them to the cleaners. The winner of Lime Rock gets 1 extra spot for his championship challenge. Ken Miller lost 1 spot to Willie Brennan. He's outside the top 10 now. Christian McCrelly was passed by Jordan Kernow as well. For a car with unfixable damage, for a car that was 10 feet in the air, Jordan Kernow's up to P8.
He's full of rubbish, isn't he?
I still believe him. I think he's just that good. And Nathan Ray makes the move on Daniel Cranifus, too, for 3rd. Cranifus clearly struggling with damage after that contact with Chinsky as well. Yeah,
I guess it has to be. Although, surely, well, I don't know. Yeah, he's certainly losing a lot of time anyway. Whether it's... Oh, and in the background, that looked like his teammate, Vitaly Green, who got into the wall there. another one of the Rust Racing drivers. They don't actually score points for the same team in this series, but they are on the same team. And I'm afraid they'll both be going backwards here in the next few moments. This is bad news for Cranifus as he looks to try and take his second win in the PRL. It's not going to come right now. He's going to need a caution, I would suggest, and a pit stop as well.
It's a little bit of a rite of passage for this race. Just taking a smack out of the turn 2 wall. It seems like just about everybody's done it.
It's the only way you can go quick right next to the wall. So I guess if you haven't hit the wall yet, you've not been trying quite hard enough. That's what they say at Darlington, isn't it?
Seems like it. Like the only cars I can think of, well, Ken Miller joins the club as well. Look at him. From P11, he smacks the turn 2 wall. He'll have Brandon Walter and the lapped Richard Swindells for company. But maybe James O'Brien is totally clean. Maybe Nathan Ray is totally clean. I feel like everybody else has gotten into the wall.
Yeah, Vasconcelos I mean, Vasconcelos grazed it harder than Guillaume Potvin did earlier. Vasconcelos is still absolutely clean with no damage. Potvin is plummeting through the field, so it just shows that it is not a certain outcome when you just graze the wall slightly. Even the slightest touch can really do a lot of damage, but you can get away with a pretty hard whack as well. There is McCrelly getting past Potvin. He's going to be seething, I think, Guillaume Potvin, because that was not a hard bit of contact with the wall. I saw it in the background. It was such a light graze.
Ooh, McCrelly getting close to the wall that time. And look who's on the scene. It's Mr. Jordan Kernow. He should be able to get by Potvin fairly straightforwardly with how slow Potvin's been, but McCrelly has not been the fastest car in this field. He should be an easy target for Kernow to chase down. Potvin's slow off of turn 4, all the way in the bottom of the track. Kernow's going to blow around his outside. And who knows? Top 6 might be possible for Kernow. Top 5 might be a little bit too much of an ask, but he's still looking forward. And Potvin says, I've had enough. I'm bringing it down pit lane. I'm going to make my final scheduled stop of the day.
Yep, I wonder what stage Cranifus is going to do the same, because they're in very similar situations. And Brett Pancari now is on the back of him for 4th place. It's clearly either Cranifus struggling with damage or the fact he's now back in the pack. I'm not sure which it is at the moment, but Pancari gets himself through, and that was pretty easy. 4th place now for the 20 car. Daniel Cranifus has got to think about coming in under green here.
Is this going to be the time he does it? So we look out of the rear end of the number 37 machine. Good prediction, Ewan. You got it right. He's coming down.
It wasn't a prediction, it was a suggestion. I'm glad he's listening. He is into the pit lane with just under 18 minutes to go. He's really rattling in here. Steady! Oh, he's practiced that, we'll put it that way. He just about slowed it up in time. So he'll drop down. Where did Potvin get to? 2 laps down. Chinsky's ahead of him. I would imagine Chinsky will be ahead of Cranifus as well after his stop, but we will see how it shakes out and whether the others have to make a green flag stop too.
Cranifus finally pulling into his box so far forward. It's just a crawl down pit lane here, but is the caution brigade back out here with Ken Miller, Brandon Walter, the lapped Joshua Chinsky, the lapped Richard Swindells? They're all going at it. Again, contact off of turn 2. Even in a race where there's 15 cars on track, we find some way to get a cluster of cars throwing bumpers at each other.
Oh, great pass from Walter on the outside line, and this is the race leader, Jake Vasconcelos, in the black and orange coming through as well here. He does not know where to go. This is terrible news for the race leader, and look at how James O'Brien is closing as a result. There goes Vasconcelos right round the outside of McCrelly. Not McCrelly, excuse me, that's Swindells. He's now going 2 laps down. Vasconcelos now is to the inside of Ken Miller.
And Miller's going to fight this if he can. He's the first driver or the last driver on the lead lap, rather.
Oh!
Brandon Walter in trouble. I think he just barely clipped the opening on the backstretch wall. I think he is okay, but he got very, very close enough to trick the sim into thinking he hit it.
Sorry, that was a bit dramatic, wasn't it? But he did nearly Nearly completely kill half the field there by driving into the wall on the straight. He gets through now, Vasconcelos, and so up to 8th place is a lap down. This could be very interesting if there's another caution. James O'Brien's got to a 2nd, but look at the traffic he has to negotiate here.
He's got to pass all those same cars now, and all that time he made up, he's going to lose doing exactly the same thing that Vasconcelos just had to do. Can he get by Miller any quicker? Can he get by Walter any quicker? Miller's going to wash up the track. O'Brien's going to squeeze to the inside of him. But you can see he has lost all the time he made up already, and he's still got one more car to pass.
Nathan Ray's had a good run here, and because he's got right to the back of O'Brien, he can basically follow him through. Although he clipped the inside curb there through turn 3 and 4. Brandon Walter's been very nice to James O'Brien, but actually O'Brien's lost more time than Vasconcelos did. Now they're going side by side right in front of Nathan Ray, who's not going to be pleased. He's going to be further behind than he was hoping. He'll see that gap go up to a 2nd now between 2nd and 3rd.
And Vasconcelos laps Willie Brennan as well, so he's lapped his way up to 7th, or lapped his way up to 8th rather, in the race. Now 2.5 seconds between him and James O'Brien. Nathan Ray almost a full 2nd behind James O'Brien now as well, as he finally clears Ken Miller into turn 1. That might not be the last navigation of traffic today. With 14 minutes left in the race, this has been what, a 28-minute run? We went green with about 28 minutes to go. There may be traffic to navigate again, so these guys are not home free just yet.
I think there will be more traffic to negotiate here. Certainly less than 15 minutes to go. They'll probably catch at least Kernell and McCrelly before the end. And that's before you consider there's people they'll be putting a lap down for the 2nd time, like Guillaume Potvin probably. They might catch Swindells again. Chinsky's around here somewhere, not far in front of Vasconcelos, as is Kranifus. They would be put 2 laps down. So there's a lot still to go on here as the battle for 9th place doesn't go away. Walter dived by one of the cars, Kenson Quint, who we haven't seen much of. Quint through into 10th place.
A little bit of a squeeze off of turn 2, but a totally clean move from Karsten Quint. Brett Punkari is down pit lane. He's going to be the first of the top 10 to make their final scheduled stop. So he'll be able to make it to the end of the race from here, but again, it is a risk, just like it was for Kernau earlier.
Well, a little bit of risk, but what he did is he saw these 4 ahead of him, thought, I'm not going to lap them on the circuit, that would be silly. So he's come into the pit lane. That's a very good call in my opinion. He's going to come out just in the background there, so effectively he will be behind these guys again, I suppose, but he's going to be in a better place, I think, than he would have been if he'd have carried on. He's actually got out quite a long way ahead of Daniel Kranifus, despite that stop for Kranifus, so that's just how much time the 37 has lost, or indeed how much time the 20 has gained, depending on how you want to look at it.
And the battle for 2nd is on. O'Brien has unfortunately done a worse job of saving the rubber underneath him than Vasconcelos has. He's consistently lost time with every lap, and he's leaving himself in the clutches of Nathan Ray behind. It's going to be a battle for 2nd before it's even close to a battle for 1st.
Yeah. The gap is out to 3 seconds now between 1st and 2nd, but Ray has still got to get inside O'Brien's bubble here, if you like. It's very difficult at this sort of distance. You can sort of keep them at arm's length pretty easily, and that's what O'Brien has done in these first few corners. Ray has hit that wash of dirty air, and all of a sudden he's half a second back all over again, so we'll have to come again a little bit later. Will they have to stop, or can they make it to the finish? We've still got just over 12 minutes to go. As far as the regulation amount of laps to go, we've still got 35 at the end of this one, so we're not quite going to make it, although it's going to be pretty close if we don't get another caution. We might nearly get through the regulation laps.
Short laps around here. We did a good job with the number calculation. How many cautions have we had so far? 5, I think.
I counted 4.
Yeah, and they're quick cautions around here, which is good. Sometimes when you go to a track like this, they just take forever, but we've the iRacing safety crew's done a good job of cleaning up the wrecks today. We've had some quick cautions.
Yep, and it's been helping us to get racing again very, very quickly indeed off the back of those. And to consider that 2 of those cautions came in the first 10 minutes, to have only 2 in the next 40 has been fantastic as Jordan Kernau now makes his way into the pit lane. This is more and more suggesting to me that these guys at the front will have to stop. They're just holding out for as long as they can.
Yeah, I think they definitely will. It's that'll be about a 90 lap stint. I don't think you can make it that far, but Kernau and Pancari were both 7th and 8th, so I don't think they're going to be in consideration for the win, but who knows? They'll find some clean air, find an undercut. Top 5 might be possible for both of those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Pancari is the first of those who can make it home, we believe, in 10th place at the moment. He's still ahead of Kranifus, who is, by the way, just ahead of Joshua Chinsky. Battle for 11th place seems pretty mundane, but that's two great drivers who are going to be doing battle for a position outside the top 10, would you believe it?
And this is a battle for important championship points. Last week's winner, Ken Miller, trying to hold off Karsten Quint. 7th and 8th, not a big points difference. I believe it's a 2-point difference between those two positions, but at the end of the season, when you're fighting for a championship, 2 points might be what makes the difference. Karsten Quint bounces off the wall in turn 2, but he's still going to have the speed to turn 3, and look at Kranifus 2 laps down, sending it in there as well. Yeah, because he's being chased by Chinsky here, and he wants to get away from him as quickly as he can. Chinsky in the blue, just in the background. Oh, sorry, he's already up ahead. That's Mitch Green. Sorry, same painted car, the Rust Racing orange car, but that's Mitch Green getting through these guys on the lead lap.
You're right. Earlier on, Chinsky was able to get through, and he's well gone. So Kranifus now up to 12th, and parks it right in front of Quint. He won't be best pleased, but he'll get away with it, and Kranifus will go on up the road. So just under 10 minutes left. How many are going to be making a late pit stop here? They're really holding out for a caution.
In the meantime, speaking of the devil, Ewan, Jake Vasconcelos is bringing it down pit lane. He's making his stop before anybody else. Race leaders down.
Yeah, good idea. He probably saw a lot more traffic up ahead of him and thought, I better come in and make my stop now. Where is Brett Pancari? He's the first of those we know for absolutely sure they can make it home. There's O'Brien. He sees the same traffic, comes into pit lane himself. Out of the pit lane goes the race leader. And it will be a race lead a little bit later, will it, for... where's he gone, Vasconcelos?
He's coming out now. Eight seconds in the box.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Sorry, I lost him entirely. Thought he disappeared. He's top 5. He is well ahead of Pancari.
So it was about 3 seconds between Vasconcelos and O'Brien before the pit cycle began. How much faster will O'Brien be able to be through the lane? He was much more aggressive on pit lane entry, so I think he made up a little bit of time there. It's going to be an identical stop, I imagine. Yeah, 8.4 to 8.2. Will it even be a race out of the lane, or will Vasconcelos blow by James O'Brien in turn 1? The answer is Vasconcelos will blow by O'Brien. He's going to get out already. There's O'Brien on the back stretch, and Vasconcelos at the front of your screen. Not even at the front of your screen. He's not even visible. He's already between turns 3 and 4.
He is absolutely gone with 8 minutes to go, although the gap looks like it's less than 3 seconds. Although, or is it just
slightly
here?
Just slightly, about 2.6.
Yeah, he's gained very slightly, O'Brien. He would do well to close that margin in now in just 8 minutes, as that's Walter. Oh, caution!
Nathan Ray.
Nathan Ray looks involved.
Coming out of the pits, I think Nathan Ray spun and collected Christian McCrelly and Richard Swindells.
Wow. That's a huge accident. We only saw the back end of it in the background. That's a huge, huge accident. I think you're right. Ray has tried so hard to get out ahead of O'Brien. He spun up the rears on the exit, and now we are in for quite an end to this one.
And Christian McCrelly with 3 wheels is your race leader at the moment. He still needs to pit, but he's still out there. He's going to get a lap lead. Oh, look at that. Yeah, go Christian. Get that lap lead. Nice.
Goodness me. Can you believe, he won't believe what his life's come to at the moment. He's racing on iRacing with 3 wheels on his wagon at 4 in the morning. If he's over in Italy, that is. It says he's registered as an Italian in iRacing. I don't even know if that's true or not, but there you go. If it is, then look at this. A comical sight on the back straight. Look at this.
That's good stuff. And I mean, he'll come down pit lane. He'll get that repaired. He'll probably finish 14th for his efforts, but that's not the worst day in the world. Here is what caused it to be somewhere close to the worst day in the world. Nathan Ray coming out of the pits, cold tires, and there he goes. Oh, and O'Brien barely avoided it too.
And, it was rather clumsy contact right at the end for Swindells, but there was barely anything that McCrelly could have done about that. Just goes flying into the scene of the accident, and unfortunately, is now going to have to repair that car. For some reason, the pace car's picked up Dan Cranifus. This is how it happened. Oh, McCrelly just can't adjust you. You just can't adjust your line like that through the middle of the corner. That's a real shame for all involved.
McCrelly is still staying out there. Pit lane is open. Karsten Quint came down this time.
Come on.
I imagine he is going to pit, unless he's going to try and... he must have a meatball. He can't go more than 3 laps, but he's milking this for everything it's worth.
He's just making sure he's got the lap led.
There he goes. He's given up finally.
Well, he could have come in normally, but anyway, never mind.
He got the lap led. That's nice. That should be. I hope we get a photo of that. I hope Mr. Hedge, when he watches this race back, I hope he gets the lap that was led on 3 wheels.
So has that happened in the PRL before? I'd be willing to say
it must have.
No.
Somebody's probably led a lap upside down at Talladega or something.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. We should have gone to Talladega in this series.
Yeah. That happens in the official series sometimes. You never know. In future seasons, it's very possible.
I hope so. Jan Cranifus is still the leader as far as the pace car is concerned at the moment. Excuse me, it's Michelin Green's teammate, who is still, for some reason, the one that the pace car wants to pick up for now. So I think he's going to get a free pass along with 5 others behind. That's going to leave us with maybe 9 on the lead lap, maybe 8. Yeah, some people.
Yeah, Green will get waved around. Chinsky will get waved around. Cranifus, Kurnow, and Miller will, but he'll just only get a lap back, I believe. No, Miller won't because he's a lap down. So Green through Kurnow will get waved around. There they go.
There they go. Yeah. Walter
and Brandon Walter for the fun of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this could be a very quiet restart if they don't get round quick enough. There's only 4 in the train at the moment.
But I think it's not going to be a quiet restart because that gap between Vasconcelos and O'Brien has been totally closed. As there's the memorialized legendary instance of the driver who once led a PRL race with 3 wheels. But we have a dogfight now. Jake Vasconcelos, James O'Brien, same age tires, totally fresh cars, going at it for what is predicted to only be about 10 laps or so. Willie Brennan, 3rd in line, is a lap down. Karsten Quint, Michelin Green, Joshua Chinsky, they're all on the lead lap. Who's going to be able to pull it out in the sprint at Gateway? We're green for the final time, and it's a great restart for Vasconcelos. Pulls a couple of car lengths over James O'Brien, but O'Brien, down on the bottom, closes that gap down immensely and prepares to build up a run down the backstretch.
And you've got to do this quickly. I think a caution would end the race at this stage, so he's got to do this quickly with them going 3 wide in the background. But the problem is he's not got anywhere near as much experience as Jake Vasconcelos at starting in the top 2. He gets close in towards turn 1 again as these guys further behind try and get themselves past the lap traffic to maybe get involved.
Chinsky clears the lap car of Willie Brennan. He's going to be looking forward to try and chase these guys down. But into turn 3, Vasconcelos running in the middle of the road, forcing O'Brien to either hug the curb or run around the outside. It's allowed him to hold O'Brien at bay again by about 2.5 tenths. Crossing the line this time, it's about 10 laps to go. O'Brien's got to start doing something different to bring this gap down. As there's Mitch Green, or the 37 of Cranifus, rather, in big trouble, bringing it down pit lane with 3 tires.
Yep, big damage again. It's the front right tyre. You can't survive without that one, as we've learned. So he's going to be into pit lane, and it's going to be a disappointing day, unfortunately, for the driver. For 3rd place in the championship coming into this race here tonight. Vasconcelos leading the championship. Hasn't been outside the top 10 all season, but still hasn't got a win. Can he maybe make this his first win of the season at the hands of James O'Brien, who's looking for his 25th career win in the PRL?
It's a better run this time for O'Brien. Was able to find a little bit of clean air through 3 and 4. He's inching closer and closer, but Vasconcelos loves the top. O'Brien tries to go for the top as well, but ends up just running in the tire tracks of Vasconcelos and makes up no ground that time through 1 and 2.
He's not really getting anywhere at the moment here. 1.5 minutes to go. That'll be 4 laps here at this point in the race. 4 laps for O'Brien to even get close and give this a go. So far, he's not even been alongside.
This is the closest he's been, though. Within 0.2 of a second, finally. He's got to get even closer than that, though. Remember, it took Chinsky, it took Kranifus getting totally halfway, getting a nose alongside another nose to be able to actually make a move around this place. O'Brien needs to get even closer as we cross the line. 1 minute to go, 3 laps to go. Does O'Brien have anything in the tank? He's trying to run that little bit higher. He's trying to build up a run through 1 and 2, but it did not work out for him again that time.
He's got to do a bit better at finding the clean air, because at the moment he's just running around in the wheel tracks, and that's not going to get you anywhere. Just get up a bit higher, stay down a bit lower, just get a little bit of clean air onto the nose there, and he might have a run. That was a bit of an error from Vasconcelos, not the ideal run out of 2, but he's gotten away with it. Now, he's got to try something here, O'Brien. Penultimate lap of the race, he's losing time again.
Gets a little bit tight off of 2 that time. He's going to have one more shot at this. White flag is in the air. Through 3 and 4, O'Brien trying to build up the run of his life here. So we come to the white flag. He's as close as he's been on the last couple of laps. Does he have anything into turn 1 for the final time? Vasconcelos up on the high line. O'Brien does send it down to the bottom this time, and he is much closer. He finally tries another strategy, and he finally gets within 1/10 of a second into 3 and 4 for the final time. O'Brien trying to rip around the outside. Vasconcelos chops him off. It's going to be a drag race to the line, and Jake Vasconcelos holds on in a photo finish. It took O'Brien until the final lap to find a way to get side by side with Vasconcelos, but Vasconcelos had just enough left in the tank to hold on.
And that was basically the first time O'Brien had got side by side for the lead all day, and it came in the final corner of the race. If he'd have had a bit more experience and a few more goes at Vasconcelos or whoever was in the lead, he might have had better chances of going through. Here it is again, over the line. No photo finish required. You can just about see it with the naked eye. 0.5 of a second, Jake Vasconcelos with his first win of the season.
And some very deserved donuts. Vasconcelos strong on the long run, strong on the short run as well. And that'll be 5 wins in 5 races, or 5 different winners in 5 different races this season. Not Jake Vasconcelos' first win in the PRL. He does have a couple of wins in open wheel competition. There's actually win number 9 for him. So 1 more race and he'll be in double digits if he can pull it off.
Who would bet against him managing it this season as well? Though I'm enjoying this run of different races and different winners we're having. 5 at the start of the season is absolutely fantastic to have. I feel like it's getting less and less likely we carry on with every week we go. But, we continue on 5 in 5.
Vasconcelos and O'Brien battled for the win. Joshua Chinsky at the end of it all ends up in 3rd. A fantastic comeback from him. Mitch Green 4th, and Jordan Kernow with the unrepairable damage proves the benefits of staying out and never giving up. He gets a top 5 for his efforts. Karsten Quint, great run from him, 19th to 6th, last car on the lead lap. Brandon Walter, only 1 lap down, finishes 7th. Willie Brennan, Richard Swindells, and Brett Punkari round out the top 10. Daniel Kranifus was fast, had the potential to win this race. He'll be disappointed with 11th, as will Ken Miller. Christian McCrelly got a lap lead with 3 tires, only finishes 13th though. Nathan Ray, 14th, was the reason Christian McCrelly finished 13th. Guillaume Potvin ends up in 15th, and then we get into the used car lot of heavily damaged cars that did not make it to the finish. Kyle Strykars, Lucas Santos, and Adam McDonald all ran into assorted amounts of trouble. Josh Conker was involved with McDonald, and Steve Baker, the first caution of the race after qualifying in the top 3. But all right, as we wait for our top 2 to join us, we'll start from the bottom of the podium. Mr. Joshua Chinsky ended up in 3rd at the end of it all. Are you as surprised as we are after everything that occurred during this race? You ended up back in the top 3.
Grateful is what I would say. Not necessarily surprised. At night racing, we're all some tough competitors, so I kind of had a feeling there might be a late yellow. I mean, I can't say I wasn't hoping on it. First off, apologies to Daniel. I actually just watched it back. He got a little loose coming out of the corner and wiggled his rear, so that's why he didn't go up all the way, and I was trying to go down, and was just an unfortunate racing incident there. But it was a great race. I mean, man, he fought me as long as he could. Same with Jake. He put up an awesome fight.
So we're in the halfway point of the season now. 4 rounds to go, 2 ovals, 2 road courses. How are you feeling? You've run good on both of them.
I'm feeling pretty good. We've got Circuit of the Americas coming up. I wish it was Watkins. Love that track, but I actually haven't run this combo there, so I definitely got to put in some work. Rest of the season, I'm feeling pretty confident. I feel like I can put in some good top 5s for all the ovals, and we've got a lot of quick guys when it comes to the road courses, so I'm hoping for some top 5s there.
Well, Josh, congrats on the podium. Congrats on pulling it out, and we'll see you next week, or in 2 weeks, rather.
Awesome. Thanks, Joey.
Joshua Chinsky coming home in 3rd. We'll see him at COTA in 2 weeks after the Super Bowl break. But after Chinsky, we move up to 2nd place, coming just short of the win. James O'Brien is with you and O'Leary.
James, welcome in. Good commiserations, if you like, on 2nd place. You gave it a good go towards the end, but what are your final thoughts on that final run towards the flag? Could you have done any more? Doesn't seem like we can't. Well,
I'm so sorry. Here we go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was learning the car as I was going. This race, I didn't have a lot of time to practice this week, and at the end, I realized, the whole race, I was wondering how they were so much faster than me up front, like Kranifus and Jake and all of them, and I was just kind of cruising. But at the end, it kind of caught me by surprise. I didn't know I had that pace in the car, and now I kind of want to redo those last 2 laps over because I was trying to set them up, but I wasn't confident, and then the car felt great on the last lap. I had to lift a little bit coming out of 4 because I think he was starting to get a little tight underneath me, and I didn't want to take us both out. But man, I want to redo those 2 last laps there.
I did wonder if you were going to say that, to be honest, because I felt when we were watching that battle towards the end that you didn't quite have the experience of running up front for a leading position compared to Jake, who had been running up front all day. Did you feel like that you didn't have quite experience with side-by-side racing throughout that race to take into that final run, or would that not have helped?
No, I think you're right. During practice, I did a few solo long runs, and randomly the car would just snap on me in turn 4 and wreck. So I kind of had that in my mind the whole race, and I would lift coming through that turn. But near the end, as I started getting cleaner and cleaner air, I could use less weight jacker. The car felt way better. And then eventually I was full throttle through the whole turn, and that was what I was mentioning. Like, I didn't know I could do that. And then even behind him at the end, the car felt great. Like, me versus him, nose to tail. Like, the car had no ill handling. It was just me setting him up, and I didn't really have any experience through the race to do that because I wasn't up there, like you said. So it was just a quick learning experience at the end that didn't pay off.
Well, it's another oval podium for you, 2 in 2 so far. So congratulations on that. Have a good week off, and hopefully we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks very much. James O'Brien, 2nd place tonight at Gateway.
One more driver to talk to. It is the winner himself, Jake Vasconcelos. You hung on at the end of that run, but it couldn't have been any closer.
Oh man, I know. James had a run on me there at the end, and I built a good gap in the middle of the race, but after that caution, yeah, he was on me. It was close.
Seemed like these restarts were tough to figure out. The leader never really seemed to be able to get away. How was it from the driver's seat? Did you have anything special to try and get away when you were leading these restarts?
Not really. I thought the leader could just go whenever they wanted to. I didn't know it was the Geico zone for this track, so you kind of know when they're going to go within, call it 10 or 20 feet. But no, it's just getting it at the right time and getting a run out of them, because the dirty air is really, really tough to keep up and then pass. So right after a caution is definitely the best time to pass. But yeah, worked out.
You were the championship leader coming into tonight. You didn't have a win yet. Now you do have a win. Does this make you the favorite for the championship potentially in the second half of the season? How are you feeling?
Oh, maybe. I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I'm a lot better at the road courses than the ovals, so to get a win at the ovals is great. A lot of things clicked this week with those roll bars and the weight jacker, and I have Josh on SRT to thank for all the help and strategy. He's really good at teaching these cars here.
Well, Jake, congrats on the win. You'll hold on to the championship lead, and we'll see you in a couple weeks at COTA.
Hey, thanks. I'd like to thank the wife for the support, and got to thank the puppy for all the luck and for being such a good baby.
Shout out to the wife. Shout out to the puppy. Jake Vasconcelos, your winner in virtual St. Louis this weekend. That was crazy, Ewan. That was an hour of intrigue and chaos and drama. And now we take a little bit of a break. Certain sporting event happening next Sunday. We'll wait for that to be over, and then we'll come back on a road course. Maybe more similar to Spa at the start of the season. Coda in 2 weeks.
I think so. I think that's probably more comparable. Certainly compared to the likes of Mid-Ohio or Lime Rock, it's not really the same at all. It will be a lot similar to Spa. There it is. Grade 1 circuit on the FIA, of course. So, yeah, we'll come with all the tarmac runoff that comes with that these days. So it will be an interesting race, a very different race than what we saw here tonight, though. I was thoroughly impressed, actually, with the racing we got at Gateway tonight. I always wince a little bit when I see flat ovals on an IndyCar schedule. Sometimes I think they don't really race very well in these cars, but that was absolutely proved not to be true this time around. Fantastic racing tonight. We will enjoy the sporting event next weekend. I certainly know who I want to win. And we'll come back again in 2 weeks' time for the final 4 weeks of the season. 2 ovals, 2 road courses to decide a champion.
And there will be PRL racing before that. Still racing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So tune in to RaceSpotTV any day of the week and you'll see PRL racing. But for now, I've been Joey Tevin. Ewan O'Leary's been Ewan O'Leary. Our producer has been Ramiro Augustine Cisneros. And until we see you next time, so long.